The galaxy was vast, filled with empires that spanned across countless star systems. Among them, the Galactic Empire was the most powerful. Its warships were massive, equipped with advanced technology beyond anything humanity could even comprehend. The Empire had conquered hundreds of civilizations, effortlessly wiping out any that dared to stand in its way. To them, Earth was just another insignificant planet, a blip in the vastness of space. Its inhabitants, nothing more than primitive beings who had barely begun to understand the true power of the universe. As the Empire's fleet neared Earth, their commanders looked down from their command stations, their faces twisted with amusement. "Is this the military force of Earth?" One of them chuckled, pointing to the small human ships that were stationed in orbit around their planet. These ships were outdated, their designs clunky and old, a far cry from the sleek, advanced war machines of the Galactic Empire. To the Empire, humanity's entire military seemed like a joke. The humans had no chance against them, and the Empire was eager to show them just how powerless they were. Commander Jake Bonner, the leader of Earth's military forces, stood on the bridge of the command center, staring at the Imperial fleet on his screens. He had heard the reports, seen the data. The Empire's ships were enormous, their weaponry far more advanced than anything humanity had. But he didn't allow himself to show fear. Bonner had been through wars before, fought battles where the odds were stacked against him. But this was different. The fate of Earth itself rested on his shoulders, and he knew that one mistake could mean the end of everything. The Empire's fleet descended toward Earth like a storm. Massive warships, each one a towering behemoth of dark metal, appeared from the void, blocking out the stars as they entered Earth's atmosphere. From the window of Earth's command center, Bonner watched as the sky darkened with the sheer size of the fleet. There was no way Earth's military could stop them. The human ships, even with their best technology, were nothing compared to what the Empire had. Still, Bonner refused to give in to despair. He had always believed in humanity's resilience, and he wasn't about to let it slip now. As the Galactic Empire's commanders continued to laugh at Earth's attempts to defend itself, Bonner received a transmission, its source unknown. A voice, distorted and almost mechanical, echoed through the command center. "Prepare to meet the wrath of the ancient fleet." Bonner froze for a moment, unsure of what he had just heard. The ancient fleet. What was that? He looked at his officers, their faces as confused as his own. No one had ever mentioned an ancient fleet before. No one even knew it existed. The message had been short, cryptic, but it held a strange weight. Could it be a warning? A message of hope? Or was it just a glitch in the system? As the transmission ended, a sense of foreboding filled the air. The message didn't make sense. Earth had no fleet capable of taking on the Galactic Empire. Yet, the words lingered in the back of Bonner's mind. The ancient fleet. What was it? Why was this the first time he had ever heard of it? The commanding officer stood motionless, staring out at the massive Imperial fleet. The ships were now in position, preparing to launch their assault on Earth. The Empire was confident in its victory, and why wouldn't they be? Humanity stood no chance. The commanders of the Empire had already begun to discuss how best to obliterate Earth's defenses, eager to crush what they saw as a foolish resistance. As Bonner looked out the window again, his mind raced. The fate of Earth seemed sealed, and yet something deep within him told him that the ancient fleet, whatever it was, could be humanity's salvation. It was as if this fleet had been waiting for the right moment to appear, and that moment had arrived. The question was, would it arrive in time? The camera zoomed out from Earth's orbit, giving the audience a sweeping view of the massive Imperial fleet hovering above the planet. The contrast between the towering alien warships and the small, almost insignificant human ships below couldn't have been more striking. To the Empire, it was a formality. A quick battle. The humans were no threat. But somewhere out there, something was stirring. Something long forgotten, something humanity could only dream of. The ancient fleet. Would it appear? And would it be enough to save Earth from the Empire's wrath? Bonner turned away from the window, his jaw set with determination. He would not let his people be wiped out without a fight. Even if humanity had no chance, he would lead them into battle. He would protect Earth with everything he had, even if it meant sacrificing himself. But as the first shots were fired from the Imperial ships, the question remained, could humanity survive this fight, or was the ancient fleet truly their only hope? The suspense was unbearable. Time was running out, and Bonner's mind raced for answers. But with every passing second, the sound of approaching Imperial warships grew louder. The Empire's attack had begun. And so, the battle for Earth began. The battle had begun, and Earth's military was under siege. Commander Jake Bonner stood at the center of chaos, his mind racing as the Imperial fleet continued to devastate everything in its path. The massive warships loomed overhead, their sleek alien designs cutting through Earth's defenses with ease. Bonner's heart pounded, but there was no time to waste on fear. His soldiers were already in motion, their orders clear: fight back, no matter the odds. The human fleet, though small and outdated compared to the Empire's overwhelming firepower, was all they had. Bonner had spent years preparing for an event like this, knowing that humanity could one day face a much stronger adversary. But this wasn't just any enemy. The Galactic Empire was an unstoppable force, with AI-driven warships that could adapt and destroy anything in their path. The Empire's ships were massive and armed with weapons that could obliterate entire cities with a single strike. As Bonner watched the battle unfold on the screen before him, he couldn't help but feel the weight of the situation. His officers and soldiers were already engaging the Imperial ships, but it was clear that Earth's defenses were no match for the Empire's technology. The human ships fired desperately, their weapons ineffective against the advanced shields of the enemy. The first few blasts from the Empire's warships shattered Earth's defenses, sending shockwaves through the command center. "We're losing them," one of Bonner's officers said, his voice tinged with fear. The Imperial warships continued to decimate Earth's defenses, one ship after another falling like dominoes. Bonner clenched his fists. This was his worst nightmare. He had always known that humanity's military wasn't prepared for this kind of attack. But now, with the full might of the Galactic Empire bearing down on them, it felt like the end. But he wasn't about to let Earth fall without a fight. "We won't go down without a fight," Bonner shouted, rallying his soldiers. "Give everything you've got. Fight for Earth." The soldiers, despite the overwhelming odds, nodded and responded with a fierce determination. They knew this was a battle they could not afford to lose. As the Empire's ships fired again, Bonner's forces retaliated. Earth's ships darted across the sky, attempting to outmaneuver the incoming fire. Some human fighters managed to get a few shots through, but they were nothing compared to the might of the Empire's AI-controlled warships. It was a slaughter. One by one, Earth's ships were cut down, their shields failing, their hulls exploding in fiery bursts of debris. The Empire's AI-controlled ships moved with precision, their tactical advantage overwhelming the human forces. Bonner could see the pain in his soldiers' eyes as they realized they couldn't win this battle through sheer force alone. Every tactic they had tried seemed to fail, and their small ships were no match for the Empire's vast fleet. Just as Bonner was about to give the order to retreat, a strange signal interrupted the battle. It was faint, barely audible over the chaos, but unmistakable. It was a distress call, originating from Earth's Deep Space Research Station, one of the last places where humanity had tried to develop cutting-edge technology. It was located on the edge of the solar system, far from Earth, and had been out of contact for months. Why were they sending a distress signal now? Bonner's heart skipped a beat. Could this be the help they had been waiting for? The mysterious ancient fleet mentioned in the transmission earlier, or was this just a last-ditch effort to keep humanity's hope alive? The officer in charge of communications quickly patched the signal through, and Bonner's eyes narrowed as he listened closely. The message was brief, distorted, but clear enough to understand. "This is Station 47. We have something. something that can help. We're under attack. Please, send reinforcements. The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving Bonner and his team in stunned silence. It was their last hope. Station 47 had been developing top-secret technology, but no one knew what they had actually been working on. Could this be the key to turning the tide of the battle? Bonner had no choice. They needed to act fast. He turned to his officers, a determined look in his eyes. Prepare a rescue mission. We're going to Station 47. It's our only chance. With the command given, Bonner and a small strike team prepared for a risky mission. They had to reach the station, retrieve whatever technology they had, and return before the Empire could destroy them all. But as they launched into space, Bonner couldn't shake the feeling that time was running out. As the battle raged on, the situation took an even darker turn. Commander Bonner's thoughts were torn between the mission ahead and the battle that was rapidly slipping out of their hands. In the chaos of the ongoing conflict, one of his most trusted allies, Captain Sarah Reeve, was leading a defensive maneuver with a squad of soldiers. She was always at the front, always ready to sacrifice herself for the cause. Bonner had known Sarah for years. They had fought side by side in countless skirmishes, and her unwavering loyalty to the human race had always inspired him. But as Bonner watched from the command center, a bright flash appeared on the screen, followed by a signal from Sarah's ship. His heart sank. The signal was cut off almost immediately, replaced by static. Captain Reeves' ship has been destroyed, the officer shouted. Bonner's eyes went wide, his mind struggling to process the news. Sarah was gone. She had always been the brave one, the one who would push forward even when the odds were impossible. She had fought to the very end, giving her life for the cause, and her death weighed heavily on Bonner's heart. But as the reality of the loss hit him, something inside him hardened. He couldn't let her death be in vain. He couldn't allow Earth to fall. Not now. Not after all they had fought for. We're not giving up, Bonner muttered to himself. We'll make them pay for this. We'll fight until the very end. The loss of Captain Sarah Reeves sparked a fire within the remaining human forces. Her sacrifice became the rallying cry for humanity's resistance. It was no longer just about survival. It was about vengeance. It was about fighting for those they had lost and ensuring that Earth would never fall into the hands of the Empire. And with that, Commander Bonner and his team set their course for Station 47, hoping that whatever secret technology was waiting there would be enough to change the fate of their world. The battle had reached its climax. Above Earth, the sky was a violent mix of explosions and fiery streaks of laser fire. The Galactic Empire's fleet, poised to unleash its final strike, was about to wipe out what remained of humanity's defenses. Earth's last line of resistance seemed hopeless. Commander Bonner and his team had barely managed to escape the devastation as they made their way to Station 47. The human fleet had been decimated, and Earth's fate appeared sealed. Then, the unimaginable happened. As the Empire's warships prepared to fire their devastating final barrage, something caught the eye of the Imperial commanders. A sudden shift in the skies above Earth. A disturbance like a ripple in the air, as if the very fabric of space was tearing apart. The Empire's fleet paused, uncertain, as the light from the sun gleamed off something massive emerging from the dark void of space. The commanders stared in disbelief. At first, they thought it was just an illusion. But as the shape of the massive fleet became clearer, their jaws dropped. It was a sight unlike any they had ever seen. A fleet of colossal warships, each one more awe-inspiring than the last, emerged from the shadows above Earth. These ships were unlike any the Empire had ever encountered. They were sleek, towering vessels, their metallic surfaces gleaming like polished steel, their energy shields glowing a bright, almost supernatural blue. The ships were not just large, they were imposing, built for war. Each one crafted with an ancient and advanced technology long thought lost to the annals of history. These were the ships of humanity's ancestors, a fleet that had been hidden away for centuries, their existence a myth passed down through legend. The Empire's fleet paused in stunned silence as the enormous warships aligned themselves in formation, a perfect wall of power rising above the earth. Each of these vessels emitted a low hum, the sound of their weapons charging, ready for battle. The sky was filled with a feeling of power, of strength, as the human ships slowly powered up. At first, it seemed like the ancient fleet might be too late, too far from Earth's atmosphere to make any real impact. But then, the first wave of enemy ships opened fire, and the fleet's cloaking devices activated. One moment, the ancient ships were visible, and the next, they disappeared, reappearing above the Imperial ships in an instant. The Empire's AI-driven warships scrambled to adapt, but it was too late. The first barrage of lasers hit the Empire's ships, sending them spiraling into chaos. The Imperial commanders, who had mocked humanity's defenses just hours ago, were now stunned, their arrogance replaced with fear. The ancient warships unleashed a storm of advanced energy weapons, their power far beyond anything the Empire's fleet had ever encountered. The first wave of Imperial ships exploded in a flash of light, their shields unable to absorb the massive energy blasts. What followed next was pure chaos. The battle had shifted in a matter of moments. The Empire's warships were no longer the unstoppable force they had once been. Humanity's ancient fleet, once thought to be a myth, had appeared out of nowhere, and they fought with a fury that sent shockwaves through the battlefield. The battle raged above Earth's atmosphere as the two fleets clashed in a stunning cinematic spectacle. Orbital bombardments lit up the night sky, massive explosions rocking the void as the Empire's remaining warships tried to retaliate. High-speed fighter jets and drones from both sides flew in tight formations, weaving through the chaos with breathtaking speed, dodging incoming fire and striking at weak points in the enemy's defenses. From the command center, Bonner and his team watched in awe as the ancient fleet tore through the Empire's forces. Each ship was a masterpiece of design and technology, far beyond anything the Empire had ever seen. Automated combat drones swarmed the skies, their advanced weapons ripping through the Imperial ships with surgical precision. The Empire's AI-controlled warships fought back fiercely, but it was clear they were outmatched. They had never encountered such fierce resistance, and their superiority in technology meant nothing when facing an enemy with centuries of combat experience. Bonner's heart raced as he watched the battle unfold. The ancient fleet was exactly what they needed, but it wasn't enough. The Empire's forces were vast, and despite the surprise appearance of these formidable warships, humanity was still fighting for its life. Earth's survival still hung in the balance. "Commander," one of Bonner's officers said, his voice trembling, This is humanity's last chance. They're doing it. They're actually holding their own." Bonner could barely believe what he was seeing. He had spent years preparing for the possibility that humanity might face an enemy like the Galactic Empire, but he had never imagined that something like this, the ancient fleet, would come to their aid. He couldn't help but feel a surge of hope, but the battle was far from over. "Keep watching," Bonner said, his eyes fixed on the screen. "We can't let our guard down. Not now." The battle raged on, the vast expanse of space becoming a chaotic, violent battlefield. The ancient fleet's technological advantage was clear. The Empire's AI ships tried desperately to reorganize, launching counterattacks, but every move was met with overwhelming force from the human fleet. The once dominant alien warships were now retreating, their once impressive power no match for the ancient humanity-crafted vessels. But just as Bonner felt the tide of battle shift in humanity's favor, something unexpected occurred. A massive Imperial warship, much larger and more powerful than any other, emerged from the heart of the fleet. Its weapons powered up, glowing with an intensity that threatened to obliterate everything in its path. The final showdown had begun. As the Empire's flagship unleashed its deadly barrage, Bonner felt a chill run down his spine. The fate of Earth still hung by a thread. Would the ancient fleet be enough to stop the Empire once and for all, or was this just the beginning of an even greater struggle? The suspense was unbearable, and as the massive Imperial flagship aimed its cannons at the Earth's surface, everything came down to this final moment. The ancient fleet, humanity's long-forgotten champions, had arrived. But would they be enough to save Earth from certain annihilation? The battle above Earth had entered its most violent and critical phase. Space itself had become a war zone, a sprawling battlefield filled with the thunder of energy blasts and the sound of metal colliding in the vacuum. The ancient fleet, humanity's long-lost champions, fought like a storm, their powerful warships cloaked in stealth as they ambushed the massive, seemingly invincible Imperial warships. These humans, long thought weak and inferior by the alien forces, had proved their worth as formidable combatants, and now they were showing their true strength. The sleek human starships darted through the vastness of space, engaging the Empire's warships in high-speed maneuvers. Each of the human pilots, determined and resolute, relied on every ounce of training and instinct to survive the intense combat. The space around them lit up with the flash of energy weapons and explosions, each blast creating a violent spectacle in the cold, dark void of space. The Imperial forces, with their AI-driven ships and technological superiority, were struggling to keep up with the unpredictability and ingenuity of the humans' tactics. It was a battle of brains versus brawn, and humanity was holding its ground. Robots, once thought to be the Empire's greatest weapon, fought alongside human soldiers in tight, explosive combat. Advanced humanoid machines, built by the same ancestors who had constructed the ancient fleet, clashed with the Empire's robotic soldiers in a deadly dance of laser fire and hand-to-hand combat. The battlefield was chaotic, filled with the sounds of heavy weapons fire, the whir of robots moving with deadly precision, and the urgent calls from human soldiers coordinating their attacks. The humans, using their cloaking devices, were able to ambush the Empire's massive warships, striking when least expected. It was a fight not just for survival, but for the very future of Earth. In the midst of the chaos, Commander Bonner watched as his forces fought fiercely, but at great cost. Each blast from the Empire's ships, each strike from an enemy robot, claimed the lives of his soldiers. His heart ached with every loss, but there was no time to mourn. The battle was far from over, and they had no choice but to press on. He stood at the command center, watching the holographic display of the battlefield. The odds were still stacked against them, but the humans had something the Empire could never understand: resolve. Bonner stepped forward, his face hard with determination. He looked at the soldiers who were still alive, those who had fought and bled for Earth. He knew they were all running on empty, their bodies exhausted, their spirits battered, but they had one last chance to turn the tide of this war. Listen up, everyone. Bonner's voice cut through the tense atmosphere. We fight for Earth. We fight for our future. We fight for those we've lost. This battle is for every person we love, every soul we've promised to protect. We may not have the advantage, but we have the will to win. Let's show them what humanity is made of. His words ignited a fire in the hearts of his soldiers. They had lost so much already, but Bonner's speech reminded them of the reason they fought. It was no longer just about surviving. It was about protecting everything they held dear. The Empire had underestimated humanity, but now the tables were turning. The humans would make sure the Empire never forgot the cost of their arrogance. As the battle raged above, Bonner's thoughts turned to the next phase of their plan. They couldn't win this war from space alone. The true heart of the Empire's power lay in its command ship, a massive fortress of metal and technology floating high above the battlefield. It was the nerve center of the Imperial fleet, and if they were to stand a chance, they would need to infiltrate it, destroy its command structure, and cripple the Empire's ability to fight back. Bonner's elite squad of soldiers, chosen for their combat skills and loyalty, had been given the impossible task of infiltrating the Imperial command ship. The mission was dangerous, but it was their only hope. Bonner's squad was equipped with advanced, human-made tech, cloaking devices, EMP grenades, and specially designed weapons that could breach the Empire's shields. They would need to navigate through the heart of enemy territory, avoiding Imperial patrols, robotic defenders, and the watchful eye of the AI systems controlling the enemy forces. The squad's mission was clear: get to the command ship, destroy it from within, and give humanity a fighting chance. As the team prepared for their covert mission, the tension was palpable. Each soldier knew the risks, but their loyalty to Earth and to each other pushed them forward. Bonner looked each of them in the eye, silently promising that they would return, no matter the odds. The scene shifted to the heart of Earth's most covered operation. The team slipped past enemy lines, cloaked and unseen, moving like shadows through the darkness of space. The Empire's robotic defenders patrolled the area, their metal bodies gleaming under the bright lights of their warships. But the humans, with their superior stealth technology, moved undetected, every step calculated to avoid detection. Inside the Imperial command ship, the air was thick with tension. The squad made their way through the metallic halls, each corner a potential threat. They had to rely on their advanced tech and combat training to survive. As they infiltrated deeper into the ship, they encountered the first wave of Imperial defenders. Robots, their bodies built for efficiency and destruction, came at them with brutal force. The humans fought back, their weapons unleashing a barrage of fire that shattered the silence. The metallic clang of combat echoed through the corridors as soldiers used every ounce of strength and skill to take down the robotic defenders. It was a gritty, brutal struggle, each soldier pushing themselves to the limit. The humans fought with determination, their unity and resourcefulness outmatching the Empire's cold, calculated machines. One by one, the robots fell, but at a great cost. Captain Reeve, Bonner's closest friend and one of the team's strongest members, took a hit as they advanced deeper into the ship. Her body crumpled to the ground, blood spilling across the cold metal floor. Bonner's heart stopped for a moment, but he couldn't stop. He had promised Earth's survival, and he had to keep fighting. For her, for all of them. The team pressed on, their determination stronger than ever. With every step, they moved closer to the heart of the command ship, to the final confrontation that would determine the fate of Earth. The battle above raged on, but this was the moment that would decide everything. Would they succeed in their mission, or would they fall, just like so many others before them? The outcome of this mission could change the tide of the entire war, and Commander Bonner knew that if they failed, Earth's future would be lost forever. The battle for Earth had reached its most critical point. Above the planet, the skies were lit with the violent flashes of laser fire, energy blasts, and the collision of starships. The ancient fleet, once thought to be a mere myth, had revealed its power, and it was unlike anything the Empire had ever encountered. The warships, sleek and formidable, systematically destroyed the Empire's advanced warships, one by one. The tide of battle began to shift, and the Empire's once confident commanders were now scrambling, uncertain of how to stop the relentless onslaught. Commander Bonner stood at the command center, his eyes glued to the holographic display. He had led humanity through its darkest moments, and now, with the ancient fleet by their side, they were finally making progress. The Imperial warships, once imposing giants in the sky, were now being picked apart by the superior technology of humanity's ancestors. Each strike from the ancient fleet was precise and deadly, their weapons glowing with an energy that seemed to defy the Empire's advanced AI systems. The battle was not yet won, but humanity was no longer the underdog. It was a force to be reckoned with. Bonner's pulse raced as he watched the unfolding destruction. His heart, heavy with the weight of the countless lives lost, now had a glimmer of hope. The Empire's flagship, the heart of their massive fleet, was within reach. If they could destroy it, the battle could be over. The Empire's remaining forces would have no choice but to retreat, and Earth would be safe, for now. The thought of victory drove him forward, but the road ahead would not be easy. He had one final task to complete: to lead a daring attack on the Empire's flagship using a weapon that had been discovered at Earth's Deep Space Research Station. The weapon was experimental, untested in combat, and its success was uncertain. But it was humanity's last hope. The decision was made. Bonner's fleet, still battered from the brutal fighting, would launch a final assault on the flagship. The ancient warships, now fully engaged in their battle with the Empire's forces, provided the perfect cover for this desperate strike. Bonner's voice echoed through the command center as he gave the order: "Prepare to launch the attack. This is our final chance." With a sense of urgency, Bonner's fleet moved into position. The experimental weapon, designed to target the Empire's most vulnerable systems, was ready to be deployed. It was a gamble, a long shot, but Bonner knew they had no other choice. The Empire's flagship had proven to be nearly invincible, but this weapon, if it worked, could change everything. The human fleet, along with the ancient warships, now surrounded the Empire's flagship, ready to strike. As the final assault began, Bonner watched from his command post, his hands gripping the armrests of his chair. His mind raced, calculating the perfect moment to unleash the weapon. The ancient fleet continued its relentless assault, tearing through the Empire's forces with precision and power. The Empire's warships, now outnumbered and overwhelmed, began to retreat, trying to escape the fury of humanity's counterattack. But the flagship, the symbol of the Empire's might, remained a formidable opponent. The time had come. Bonner gave the order, and the weapon was deployed. A surge of energy pulsed through space as the experimental weapon activated. It was a brilliant flash of light, a beacon of hope. The weapon struck the Empire's flagship with terrifying force. The massive ship shuddered as its shields flickered and failed, unable to withstand the full brunt of the attack. The explosion that followed was like nothing Bonner had ever witnessed. A massive fireball engulfed the flagship, sending shockwaves through the battlefield. For a moment, the entire sky above Earth was alight with the brilliance of the explosion. Commander Bonner stood in stunned silence as the Empire's flagship was reduced to rubble. It had been destroyed in a single blow, its once imposing presence vanishing into the void of space. The Empire's remaining fleet, now leaderless and in disarray, began to retreat in defeat. The battle was won, but at a tremendous cost. The human fleet, battered and bruised, held the skies above Earth, victorious but forever changed. Bonner's heart was heavy as he watched the remnants of the Imperial fleet flee into the distance. The victory had come at a great price. The human soldiers, many of whom had given their lives for this moment, would never return. Their sacrifice had been the key to turning the tide, and their bravery would never be forgotten. Bonner's mind lingered on the faces of those he had lost, his friends, his comrades. Captain Reeves' death had been a devastating blow, and the loss of so many others weighed on him. But in that moment, as the stars above Earth began to settle into calm, he knew that their deaths had not been in vain. With the Empire's defeat, humanity had proven that they were not weak. They had shown that when faced with the impossible, they could rise up and defend what was theirs. The ancient fleet, humanity's forgotten legacy, had given them the strength to fight back. But it was the courage of the human soldiers, those who had fought and died, that had made the difference. Bonner took a deep breath, the weight of the moment settling on his shoulders. He had led his people through the darkest of days, and now they had won. Earth was safe, for now. But he knew that the war was far from over. The Empire had been defeated, but there were other threats out there, other forces that would one day come for Earth. Bonner was ready for whatever came next, knowing that humanity had proven itself capable of facing anything. As the human fleet began to regroup, Bonner looked out at the stars, his heart swelling with pride. Earth had fought back against the most powerful force in the galaxy and emerged victorious. The battle had been fierce, but humanity had shown that they were more than just ants to be crushed. They were survivors. They were warriors. And they were ready for whatever came next. The battle for Earth was over, But the true significance of the victory was only beginning to unfold. The once mighty galactic empire, crushed under the weight of its own arrogance, was left to pick up the pieces of its shattered forces. Commander Bonner stood on the bridge of the human command ship, gazing out at the stars that had once seemed so distant, so unreachable. The Empire, humiliated by its defeat, had no choice but to send a formal surrender. They were no longer the rulers of the galaxy. Earth was now a force to be reckoned with. The Galactic Empire, once the epitome of power and technological supremacy, had crumbled in the face of humanity's resilience. The very AI systems that had once controlled the Empire's warships were now in disarray, their authority broken. The technological juggernaut that had once seemed invincible was now a hollow shell, vulnerable and powerless. The defeat of the Empire was not just a military victory. It was a symbolic moment for all oppressed species across the galaxy. Humanity, with the help of the ancient fleet, had demonstrated that even the most advanced technologies could be overcome with courage, ingenuity, and sheer determination. The ancient warships, thought to be relics of a long-forgotten time, had proved to be the key to breaking the Empire's dominance. They were no longer just a symbol of humanity's past. They were the gateway to Earth's future. With the power of these ships at their disposal, humanity was now recognized as a galactic power in its own right. As the Empire's forces withdrew, leaving Earth's orbit to its new masters, Bonner could not help but reflect on the journey that had brought them here. The price of victory had been steep. Countless lives had been lost in the struggle, and many of his closest friends and allies were now gone. Captain Reeve, his right-hand officer, had died in battle, and her sacrifice had been the catalyst that had propelled the human forces to victory. But her death, along with the deaths of so many others, had not been in vain. Humanity had emerged victorious. Earth was safe. The formal surrender from the Empire came in the form of a transmission, a cold and calculated message from the Empire's leadership. They had no choice but to acknowledge humanity's strength, to admit that they had been bested by a species they had once dismissed as insignificant. The message was short, devoid of any pleasantries. The Empire, broken and battered, was no longer in a position to continue its conquest. Earth had proven that it could defend itself, that it could rise above even the greatest of threats. The galaxy had changed forever. With the Empire's AI-driven dominance shattered, the galaxy's balance of power shifted. The human forces, now equipped with the ancient fleet's advanced technology, stood at the forefront of this new era. Earth was no longer a small, insignificant planet in the far reaches of the galaxy. It was now a beacon of hope for other oppressed species, a symbol that even the most advanced civilizations could fall, and that the underdog could rise to take its place. Commander Bonner stood at the helm of his ship, his mind focused on the future. Earth's victory was only the beginning. The ancient fleet's true power was just starting to be understood. The ships, capable of feats beyond even the Empire's imagination, were now under humanity's control. And yet, Bonner knew that there was more to these ships than anyone had yet discovered. The galaxy was full of secrets, secrets that humanity was now in a position to uncover. The ancient fleet was not just a weapon of war. It was a testament to humanity's potential. These ships, built by the ancestors of Earth, held the key to unlocking the true power of human ingenuity. The technology, the knowledge contained within these warships, was a treasure trove of possibilities. But humanity had only scratched the surface. There were still many mysteries to uncover, many secrets yet to be revealed. As the camera zoomed out from Earth, Bonner's gaze turned to the stars once again. The victory was sweet, but the journey ahead was uncertain. There was still so much to learn, so much to explore. The universe was vast, and there were many threats that still lurked in the dark corners of space. But humanity had proven that it could stand up to even the greatest of challenges. And with the ancient fleet at their side, there was no telling what they could achieve. And then, just as Bonner was about to turn away from the stars, something caught his eye. A massive, cloaked ship, unlike anything Earth had ever seen, was approaching from the farthest reaches of the galaxy. It was enormous, its silhouette barely visible against the backdrop of distant stars. It moved silently through space, as if it had always been there, watching, waiting. The ship's presence sent a chill down Bonner's spine. It was too large to be a mere scout, and its cloak suggested a level of technology far beyond anything humanity had encountered. The ship's approach was slow, deliberate, and it was coming closer with each passing moment. Bonner's mind raced with questions. Who could this be? What did they want? The camera lingered on the cloaked ship, a mysterious presence that seemed to hold the key to a new chapter in humanity's galactic journey. The future of Earth and its newfound place among the stars was uncertain, and this ship's appearance was a sign that humanity's story was far from over. As the camera zoomed out further, the massive ship became clearer, its dark, imposing shape taking form against the backdrop of space. The ship was like nothing Bonner had ever seen before, vast, powerful, and ancient. It was a mystery, and it was approaching Earth. The camera slowly pulled back, the Earth's surface coming into view. As the audience was left with the haunting image of the ship drawing closer, its true purpose unknown. The story of Earth's victory over the galactic empire had come to an end, but a new story was about to begin. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Humanity had secured its place in the galaxy, and with the appearance of the mysterious ship, the galaxy's next great chapter was about to unfold. The screen fades to black, leaving the audience with a sense of anticipation, eagerly awaiting what would come next. What lay ahead for Earth? What secrets did the ancient fleet hold? And who was the mysterious ship that now approached from the unknown? The answers would come in time, but for now, the galaxy was on the edge of a new era.